People wonder, people ask, am I present? Am I past? I never left, I haven't gone. Check the spelling on the stone. Was my leaving you a sin? Did my faith somehow grow thin? My secret's out, so many know. Check the
Hey, how are you today?
on.
Hi. Hi, Michelle. How are you today? All right. Hi, Jackie. How are you today? All right. They got like 1 minute left of the song, but I'm gonna play the rest of it at the end, like I did the other day. How are you all doing? Okay, so I decided to do this submit this presentation over. It was one of like my second live. I'm good. I'm a little frazzled, but I'm good. I got on. I had to delay 15 minutes because I was working on something and I figured out how to do video clips. So I was like excited. And I didn't get them all done, but I got as much done as I could. Okay. So I had done this presentation before, and someone had left me a comment about the videos being either choppy or not coming in good. And I don't think it's because I used StreamYard. I think it was because I used my phone the first couple times and it was the editing program. I was learning all this. So I decided that I'm going to do the second live over again because I watched it today and I'm like, no, I'm going to do a PowerPoint and all that. It's going to be much better this time. That way I'm not hunting for pictures and all that kind of thing. So without further ado, we're going to get going on this because I got a lot here. All right. So we called this why was the name wrong on the stone and why was the casket so heavy? So that is what we're going to look at today. So the first thing we need to know is his middle name is spelt wrong on the stone. It's spelt with 2 A's instead of 1. So on all of his legal documents, he had spelt his middle name with 1 A. If we look at the documents on the screen here, we see his social security card, which has 1 A. His birth record has 1 A in the middle name. His diploma from high school has 1 A. All right. And also, his library card had 1 A. His marriage certificate to Priscilla was 1 A. And even his death report has 1 A in the middle name. All right. So, reason why I'm doing this is because the first time I did this video, I had to hunt for everything. So I put it all on PowerPoint and I learned how to use this. So this is great. I love it. All right. So even the thank you card that Vernon wrote, there's a copy here of the thank you card. I think someone had bought this from the pawn shop. This is a thank you card. It's dated for like October 1977, if I'm not mistaken. Can't see it very well. Yeah, October 14th, 1977. So this says the family of Elvis Aaron with 1 A Presley. Now he put the stone in the backyard with 2 A's. Does that make any sense? I mean, honestly, he's spelling 1 A. So there was an error on the stone, either that or there was a reason why there was only 2 A's on the stone. And we're going to look at some I'm going to say video clips, some book entries and everything discussing the A's, why there was an extra A. Okay, so first of all, Gail states in Is Elvis Alive? Now, this is a long reading, but I'm going to try to condense it down as much as I can. So, first of all, she says that the problem that they had was that even Elvis was entombed in a white marble mausoleum at Forest Hill Cemetery, and the cause of death was suspected. Okay, so it was suspect because it was so quick. I mean, they did the cause of death really quick, like within hours. Usually, it takes a while. Then by the time they do the autopsy and get that done, and they bring the body to the funeral home, it takes like a few days, that type of thing. So it's starting to ask questions. Well, how did this funeral go so fast? So that's what she's asking. So I think what happened is that she said that she was questioning if he had heart disease, coronary heart disease, died of a heart attack, then how could he play racquetball the morning before and not have any effects, not complain to Ginger at all about having chest pain, nothing. That was what she was questioning. But she also said that people were thinking it was drugs and cancer that were the causes of death, which really wasn't. Okay. And so the autopsy report was even sealed by the family. So no one knows what is on that autopsy report. The only thing they have is a death record, which is a little different than the autopsy report. So this was interesting. So what happened was someone tried to take the body and steal it. So they decided that they were going to try to bury the bodies in Graceland. Now, the challenge is that she's questioning, all right, his mother was moved to the mausoleum and Elvis would be alongside her. So she was questioning why his gravestone wasn't next to his mother. All right, so that's what she was questioning. And then they said they moved her, the grave, and the mausoleum alongside Elvis. And the municipal health department opened the next morning. Cemetery officials were there to apply retroactively for the permit to move the body. A permit was granted. A few days later, attorneys for the Presley estate applied for a zoning variance to allow the bodies of both Elvis and his mother to be moved to the this time to the graveside at Graceland. Now, Graceland is zoned for R1. In R1 zones, burials are not among the approved uses. Moreover, the act regulating burials said nothing about laying people down in residential areas. If it is not mentioned, it is not permitted. So, the director of the health department said it would be no problem to issue a health permit if the board adjustment gave a variance. The necessary documents were duly issued, and late one night, the earthly remains of Elvis and his mother were quietly slipped from their crypts and into Forest Hill, and brought to Graceland, where they now lie. It's sitting and known in the great meditation gardens. But fans questioned when the moving of the bodies occurred. In months following Elvis's death, there were always fans at Graceland outside the crypt at Forest Hill, day and night. How could the bodies have been moved without anyone noticing? So her idea is that the body really didn't get moved, and that's probably the truth, but they still put grave markers at Graceland. Because she said the moving of the bodies took place on October 2nd, 1977, approximately 6 weeks after the death of Elvis. The reason given for the move was said that Vernon feared that Elvis's body would be kidnapped. Nearly 2 weeks after Elvis's funeral, 3 men were arrested attempting to steal the body of Elvis. This occurred on August 29th, 1977. The men arrested said they did not want the body of Elvis, but wanted to prove to the world that Elvis had not died, and there was no body in the crypt. This must have unnerved Vernon, and still he waited over a full month before having the bodies moved. And it was also during the period that talk about abounded about exhuming the body because of the cause of death controversy. So once the body was moved to Graceland, the possibility of it being exhumed is drastically reduced. Plus, the grounds of Graceland were guarded by electronic security systems so sophisticated it could protect the greatest treasures of the world. So she's saying the armed guards are there 24 hours and so on and so forth. So no one could really try to exhume or kidnap the body. Okay. So basically the charges for the people that tried to kidnap the body were dropped. And she's like, "Well, why? Why were they why were they?" So I'm going to say hold on. She's having a hard time finding rationalizing the spelling on Elvis's middle name on the gravestone at Meditation Gardens. Elvis's name was always had been a source of interest, particularly in those early years when he was unknown. Those in power have often suggested Elvis change his name. After all, this was the era of James Dean, Rock Hudson. Could names like Elvis Presley succeed? Elvis defended his name, for it was the name his parents chose, and it was in honor of his father, whose middle name was Elvis. And he was proud of his name and of his heritage, and he was well known as an extraordinary tie to both parents. To fool around with the name his parents chose was a subject not to breach, and he was Elvis Presley, and the world would have accepted him as is. So he was also Elvis Aaron, Aron with one A, Presley. So here lies the question. Why did Vernon deliberately misspell Elvis's name on the grave, spelling it Elvis Aaron Presley? Well, come to find out, he didn't do it. We're going to find that out in a few minutes. All right. So, what she was trying to say was that everything that he has, all his documents have Aron as his middle name. So why would they put two A's on his gravestone? So I'm going to just kind of skip over some of this. And I'm just going to go into what she said. Let me see. She, first of all, was a little upset because when everybody died, and of course the grave markers are there at Graceland, why Elvis is not next to Gladys, right? So a lot of us are questioning that. Why isn't Elvis next to Gladys in the gravestones at Graceland? Because he's not. And he ended up between his father and his grandmother. So everybody still questions that. So they wanted to know why was there two. Okay, so why were there two A's? So she's saying that he used numerology to do it. All right, I'm going to see what I have in the next slide here. Okay, so that's not it yet. Okay. So she's saying he used numerology to do it. And so in Elvis Files, we go on and she explains numerology a little bit. Every letter in the name has a number assigned to it. So what she's saying is the A's have ones, and then there's a 2 for R, and O is 7 and 5. So if you add those up together, it equals 16. So 16 is the day of the month that Elvis staged his death. So 1 plus 6 equals 7. And the day of his death is 1 plus 6 equals 7 because it's the 16th. So the 16th is the day that equals 7, and 7 is considered like a holy number, like a number that's godly, is like kind of like something to work toward. Okay, a number. It's kind of hard to explain because I'm not a numerologist, so I'm just going to do this is the math that she gave out in the Elvis Files. So if you add 8 plus 16, that equals 24. And the year 1977, if you add those together, that equals 24. So 24 equals 24. Could be a reason why he used that. But also, she did, I guess, the main numbers here, or the back numbers. So 8 plus 6 plus 7 equals 21, which equals the crown of the Magi, which is quite interesting. A crown. Thinking king. Get it? Anyway, that's what she said. Okay, but this is what the truth about Elvis Aaron Presley said. Okay, so here is a little document on here. That's the press release to this book. The truth about Elvis Aaron Presley in his own words. And this I got off of Linda Hood Sigmund's site, but also one of the group members, Dennis Miller, had shared it on the group. So I took a picture of it and put it on here. It says, I was the one who allowed the A on my stone. That is Elvis saying it, or Jesse saying it. Elvis Aaron Presley, not Elvis Aaron Presley. I cannot, nor will I worry that my friends. Oh, and it says the extra A was the first letter in the word alive. So he was saying the extra A meant alive. Yeah. Sorry for that interruption, everybody. I had to take care of my dad. That's not what he said, but that's what I think of it. Anyway, it's all a numerology thing. All right. So, Jeannie C. Riley said on Fox News in 2002, she told her audience, Elvis Aaron, not Aaron, like his gravestone. Elvis was too honest of man to put his real name on a grave he wasn't in. So she kind of said, hey, this book, at first she said, was, a bunch of hogwash. But then she changed her mind. And I don't know if maybe she met Jesse or whatever that changed her mind. But that's what she said. So a lot of people don't believe that, he said, check the spelling on my stone at the end of spelling on the stone. All right. So I'm going to skip over that because that was a lot of reading here and I didn't feel like reading it all. All right. So the other question I had was, why was that casket 900 pounds? Because that's what Gail asked. I mean, they had to have a lot of men carry that casket. And the reason why is because the body itself in the casket was made of wax. Okay? So if we look at this comparison photo here that I have on this slide of the noses, you notice the noses are different from the real Elvis and that one in the casket. And that's because the body was made of wax. So, in the book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, on page 31, he explained this. I will start about 1974 when the thought first came to me about faking my death. I was always and been fascinated with the occult and other spiritual things. And when I first saw the wax dummy of myself made by Mr. Cooper, I was fascinated with it. For some time I had thought if it was possible, could I pull this thing off? I had asked Mr. Cooper if he could make another wax dummy for me. He said he could. I in turn said I wanted him to do it and keep it strictly confidential. And when I mentioned it to a few close friends, Joe Esposito and Larry Geller, they did not think I was serious. He said, I was tired of being Elvis Presley. My health was deteriorating, and I just couldn't keep up. My finances were floundering because of Dad's poor business ventures, and I was at my wits' end. All right. So he commissioned this wax body from a Mr. Cooper, and I'm not quite sure if he worked for that wax museum, Madame Tussauds or whatever. But anyway, there were 2 copies of the wax body. So the body was wax. In the interview in 1988 for the Elvis Files tape, Gail told him, people ask me how I knew it was a wax dummy in the coffin, and I say, because the wick on the top of the head. And he kind of giggled at that, or, kind of like, a little giggle. He was amused. And he goes, well, thank goodness nobody lit it. It would have been a nuclear meltdown, the biggest meltdown in the century. And that was page 271 on the Elvis Files. So when Elvis Found Alive, the documentary, I don't have a clip for that because I didn't have time to make it. But he admits that the body was wax. And he said it looked too young and his hairline was too low. He also said something on the idea that he had a wax mannequin in his closet and his father had a head, but I think it was a full entire wax body. And he had to put a air conditioner in the bottom of the casket. So he said that they buried a giant candle and an air conditioner. And he kind of chuckled. And I said, okay, so that matches the candle conversation with Gail. So I knew that that was probably him on that movie clip. All right. So we had one more, and this was from a profile. Where did it go? Did I miss it? Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. From a profile called Jesse Burrows. And for some reason, it's not on here. Did I miss it? Oh, I guess I did. Well, anyway, a profile called Jesse Burrows, a channel on YouTube. You guys can look it up if you want, but I actually am able to make a clip of that, so I'm going to put that on.
A close friend of mine who worked out in Los Angeles, and I had him make a wax replica of me. And at the time, he was the best in the business out there. I use this picture here, and I told him that I wanted it made with the eyes closed, like I was sleeping. And so he thought it was going to be a gag type thing, and but of course we ended up using it there at Graceland for the viewing.
Okay. So this is Jesse Burrows' channel. I'm not sure if that's actually Elvis in these clips, but it does match. It does match the other 2 interviews, so that's why I used it, or actually the book as well. It matched the account in the book, except for the name of the person. He didn't say his name. All right. So the last video clip I'm going to show you is Gene Smith. Now, Gene Smith is one of Elvis's first cousins, and he was very close to Elvis, and he had talked to Elvis, and according to the Starseed Memoirs of the Starseed Child by Deborah Presley Brando, he said to her that after everything, before they went to the funeral home, before they closed the casket, he noticed that the sideburn was falling off the wax. So he put it back on the wax. And he said you could hear the air conditioner running underneath the casket or inside the casket when you approached it. So he said you could hear the air conditioner. But he also said some more things for the Elvis File TV program. So I'm going to put that video on, and then we will have a chat, okay? Or finish up.
Viewed the body for the last time. I stood there quite a while looking at his hands, and of course he was always breaking bricks with his hands. He had calluses on the bottom of his hand, and big old rough-looking knuckles. His nose looked kind of puggy-looking, and his right sideburn was sticking out straight out looked about an inch. And his hairline looked as if it had been a hairpiece, something glued on somewhere. It just didn't look right. And his hands was just as smooth as a newborn's baby's behind, you know. And it seemed like it was sweating around his hairline. It could have been sweat, it could have been glue, I don't know. But I just didn't believe it was him.
All right. So he said he just didn't believe it was him. Actually, Jesse Elvis had said at the end, or somewhere in here, that nobody, okay. Did you know that every person that passed in front of my casket had one thing in common? They all had the same statement when asked about my state, when they looked at me in the coffin. That even my relatives said it. They said, it doesn't look like him. All right. So, after seeing all this stuff, we question. The biggest clue was the extra A on the stone. There was other clues that he had. He had musical clues. And I might do a live stream on musical clues. And I think there's quite a few musical clues before he died. But there's also some after he died that we have already been covering. But I'll go through them again because I don't mind doing that, right? So I'm going to just give you the last of Spelling on the Stone. We were listening to it before I got on. I was running a couple minutes late, so I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about the interruption. So I'm just going to say hi again to Michelle, Jackie, and Barbara. All right. So hello, everybody. Hello, everybody that joined us. If you missed any of it, you can watch a recording because it'll be on YouTube recorded. All right. So what are your thoughts? It's a lot of interesting information and definitely did not look like him in the casket. As it didn't even look like him on his picture that he had the night before. He had longer hair, longer sideburns, and everything else. A different nose. Yes. So I'm going to just show everybody. This one says, "Hi, Joy." This one says, "Hi, Joy." This one says, "How are you?" I'm good. A little hot, but I'm good. It was pretty hot today. And I did a lot of yard work, so that's why I didn't do the live stream earlier. Hi, Joy again. And then this one is interesting for sure. Yes, it's very interesting information. All right. And there was a whole lot more that Gail had in her books, but I really didn't want to sit there and read books to you guys. I really enjoyed doing the video clips. So I'm going to try to do those more often. And I'm definitely going to do them when we do Elvis Found Alive. I might have to break that up into 3 or 4 different programs, but that's going to be very good documentary study series there. So, all right. As promised, I am going to leave you guys with, okay, LindaHoodSigmundTruth.com. You will find the press release, the rest of the press release on that site if you want to read it. It was about the book and some of the stuff in it. His thoughts and all that kind of thing. All right. Right. So Jesse lives as his twin. Yes. Elvis lives as his twin Jesse. Exactly. His twin was stillborn. And he has a condition called twinless twin syndrome. Okay. So I do have a video out for that. So if you guys want to check that out, check it out if you haven't watched it yet. It's about why he took on his identity and everything. All right. It's very interesting about Elvis and his twin, his dead twin. And he had no other brothers. The Elvis tape, yes, is his voice. And the phone calls. So there's 2 tapes for Gail. One came with this one, Elvis is Elvis alive? That one I played, and actually have I think it's 2 videos, live videos of that. You can listen to that and decide for yourself. But it definitely sounds a lot like him. And there's a lot of things that fit his timeline or fit the timeline of everything that came out. I'll give you an example. He says in that tape, he said that he had cut an album and was learning all the old songs again, but learning some new songs. And he's looking to make a new album, but he's trying to get all the people together that he used to work with before. Okay, so if we think about that and we look into all the records that possibly could have been him, in 1981, Silver Nora came out with a bunch of songs, a whole album. The interesting thing, I have 3 videos about Silver Nora on here as well. So you guys can watch that anytime. They're under the live button, okay? And then Spelling on the Stone came out in 1988. And that one is very unique album. So I think that's the new album he was talking about on that tape. So, but it definitely sounds a lot like him in the way he talks and kind of repeats himself a little bit, stutters and all that. Yeah, sounds just like him. And it's a good long, about 3 or 4 phone calls worth. And then he did call Gail Brewer Giorgio. And I think the next video I'm going to do, the next live, which will be probably Tuesday, I'm hoping, is going to be another real encounter with Elvis after 1977. That's going to be good if he's able to do it. All right. If Gene noticed, would you think other family members would have being around him so much? Yes. A lot of his family members said it didn't look like him. And friends. I'm gonna say that Gene knew because he just was notified. Like Elvis kind of told him they were very, very, very close, almost like brothers. And I think he was closer to Gene than he was Billy. Okay, and Billy Smith was very close to Elvis as well. But I think Gene knew about it because he told Gene he had to go into witness protection because of what happened with Lisa. He had a death threat with Lisa, and actually that was revealed in the memoir of a Starseed Child by Deborah Presley Brando in her book. She visited Gene to get more information, and she found out more information, so she put it in her book. Okay. So I believe yes, and I'm thinking most of his close family members do know that he is alive now. Of course, it's been like what 47 years or 46 years, and they are sworn to secrecy. They're still not allowed to say anything or admit. But Priscilla has like really flubbed up quite often. So, and she's been giving out hints, and she does it like on purpose. It's not like this stuff is new. Like I said, he came out with this and told almost everything. That movie, the tapes, everything. And thing about the tapes is that he was tape recorded and didn't know it. So, you know, that kind of hurt a little bit. I think for him, I probably hurt him a lot, because he asked Gail not to tape and she did. He felt betrayed. I mean, I would too. And now I understand why he calls Linda Hood Sigmund on the phone and uses a voice mixer, because he is so afraid to be traced and and he calls them. They can't call him. All right. Any other comments before I get off? Okay. So I'm going to leave with this, and if you're new here, you can subscribe to the channel. That'd be great. Share this and favorite it amongst everybody, wherever you want. All right. And if you want to join the Facebook group, just fill out the questions. I also have a Facebook page, business page as well on Facebook. So you can just look at the stuff there. But everything that I post here goes up there anyway. So if you're here, you're awesome. It's great. All right. Yeah. I think the quote was, in case Linda Hood Sigmund actually watches this, because sometimes she does watch my videos. I think the quote was, "I don't want that woman making any more money off of me." She doesn't write about him anymore, but yeah, he was very upset with her. And I wouldn't blame him because she overstepped. But then I understand her point of view was she got called at 2:30 in the morning. She was half asleep and misunderstood the guy's questioning her about tape recorder. All he could say was, "Please do not tape this for his safety." And she probably would have said, "Okay, no problem." But he went on to say, "I bet you have a tape recorder." And it kind of like threw her off a little bit. It's like, well, why are you asking me if I have a tape recorder if I'm not supposed to tape this? You know what I mean? So she got confused. I can put myself in her shoes on that one, but yeah. You're very welcome, Michelle. Elvis Daily Verses and Prayers. Yes. That must be a very interesting channel. I should check it out. And you're very welcome, Jackie. All right, so before everybody leaves, I'm going to finish that song off. And at the end, listen very carefully, because instead of saying on the stone, he says, do you think he will ever do a live video for everyone to know? Okay, so this is the challenge. I believe that he's not able to do videos right now, but I read on lindahoodsigmund.com, truth.com, that he has a DVD out that will come and be submitted. I'm not sure if it's going to be on her site or what, when he dies. And there might be a book as well. I think he's still writing memoirs, so there'll probably be a book out too, but I'm not sure who's writing those memoirs, if it's him or somebody else. Right, check it out. It's all Elvis music. So I do have a lot of, actually, I suspect that these are Elvis. Okay? You do the decision yourself. Make your own decision on these recordings. Okay? And remember that these recordings that I have out, I have some Silvanora on the page. I have one more to do, and then another Christmas one, which I won't put out till Christmas, guys, or if you want me to do it in July, it's Blue Christmas. But I think I'm going to wait till Christmas to send that one out. But a Silvanora, and then the Spelling on the Stone. All the songs on Spelling on the Stone are done. And those are on here. There are some Orion songs as well that he admitted to recording for Orion. So there are some Orion songs on a playlist. I think he sings, but I could be wrong on that because they are so close in voice. I mean, they are so close in voice, and they are closer than Bob Joyce. They are closer together than John Cotner. And John Cotner is very close to Elvis. I mean, so close. Sometimes I think it is Elvis, but it isn't. Okay? So Jimmy Ellis' voice was very, very close to Elvis's. So sometimes it's hard to figure out who's singing what song, because Elvis would change his voice to sound like Jimmy. Okay? And he did that with these other songs. So remember, when you're listening to Silvanora, like example, I'm going to think of one of the songs, Reconsider Baby, is kind of sung differently. I think he's tried to hide his voice a little. Okay? And then Spelling on the Stone is country, like very country based. So you can hear his voice in that one, but it's changed. He makes it sound ghostly. You know what I mean? I think it's spooky sounding, but anyway, let me see if there's anything else that I can show. Okay. Nope. All right. So here's the rest of that song, and then I'm signing off.
Stone.
The legend lives, never dies. It's up to you to decide.
Say the word, and I'll come home. Check the spelling on the stone. Would you miss me quite the same had I never come to fame? So the truth may now be known. Check the spelling on the song.
to decide.
Say the word and I'll come home. Check the spelling on the stone. Just check the spelling on
My stone. Not on the stone. On my stone. So, that's a big clue right there. All right. So you guys have a great night. God bless you all. I hope to be back on Tuesday with my friend who has met him after 1977, and he will tell you the story of his experiences with Elvis after death. All right. And whatever he can tell us. So sometimes some people are very, they have to be tight lipped, but whatever he can tell us, he will. If he can. If not, I will be on Tuesday with something else. I'm not sure what yet. I'm thinking of maybe doing something about what'd she say? Oh, there's like a lot in here I haven't covered. So maybe, something to do like the Passover plot or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Or more Elvis sightings, because there's a lot there. She's got more in this book. All right. Uh, yeah, I'm glad. I think he loves his fans. I know that. And he wanted his fans to know that he was alive. He was around. So that's why he had this book written. And he gave us all those songs. And there is more Elvis music. And there's 15 more songs I have not covered. I do not know if I don't think I can convert them into video. So I will just recommend them to you and you guys can watch them on your own. Okay. So it's under, if you want, you can look up John Burroughs, but look up Highway 61. That channel. I will put, actually what I'll do is I'll put it up here or something as a recommended channel. Guys, go on there and check out those 15 songs. It will be blown away. And actually, when he sings, "Do You Know Who I Am?" You hear that. You can listen to Civil Norris version and Elvis's version, and they are very, very close. Okay? So, also put in the the John Burroughs one that's from Elvis. This one I'll just give you it's from this movie right here. Okay, that is not his picture. So I'm letting you guys know that it's just a album cover. They made like a computer generated aged Elvis. They could not put his image on there. So it's underneath Elvis Found Alive, but I think if you want to watch the whole movie, it's under Amplified, Highway 61. But I'm going to be covering the movie quite a bit, including the background story on how it came to be. Hi, Mike. I mean, Jim. Whatever. Okay. All right. Hi, Jim. How are you? We'll chat later. I know I'm gonna chat with you in a little while. I was telling everybody that you might come on Tuesday. Are you still gonna come on Tuesday or not? This is my friend Jim, everybody. We don't know yet. Oh wow. I'm at the end of this. All right. So when you guys get a second, anyone who joined on late, you'll see the recording. All right, and I'm going to get off. Have a good night, guys. God bless y'all. Bye. Oh, hi, behind the mask. Okay. I'm going to stay on for a few seconds longer. Oh, yeah. And I didn't say hi, Sophie. Hi, Sophie. I didn't say hi to you. And I'm saying bye now, too. Bye and bye. All right. Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Oh, okay. We'll chat later. I'm going to get off. You can send me, message me, and we'll talk. Okay, Jim? All right. Bye, everybody.